Hey guys, welcome back to the course. This section is going to be pretty awesome. We're going to start styling elements. Now that we learned how to create shapes, we can start creating really awesome styling to them. And I want to focus on buttons this time. In this section. So go back to the tool and pick a rectangle one and drag it, and let's create our button this way. This is pretty cool. And now is the fun part. So you're gonna go to the fill-in tool here. So everything you need related to the shape is over here. Nothing else. Everything you need is here. So let's go over this one by one. So the first one here is fill. Fill is the color. So if you tap on this, you will see this color palette, which you can either switch by going over here, and then once you pick a color that you like, you can drag this over here and pick any color that you like. So let's go with, buttons are usually good in blue, so let's go with this blue color, nice blue color over here. And then you could change the opacity of it if you want to lighten it from here, or you can create personal palettes, but it's another, we'll keep that for another tutorial. And then yeah, okay, so let's stick with this blue color. And then what you could do over here is right here, this is the corner radius part where you can like add radius to the button. Do you see as I added, it creates a radius? Now, but some buttons are usually will have radius. This is preference and based on the project, based on what clients want, but you could play with this. So let's keep it at 10. And then you have other elements, which is the stroke. So that adds a stroke to the button around it. So let's see what that does. You see, added a 1 pixel stroke. So let's say I want it to be way larger. I can add over here. You see, it's pretty ugly in black, but let's do that to. Well, in this case, we don't want to add a stroke. It's going to be ugly, but what you could do also is, to make it look better, is you remove the fill and you leave the stroke. That's also one kind of a button. But in our case, let's just keep the fill in and remove the stroke. I just wanted to show you how the stroke works. And let's go back to our blue over here. And here we go, we have our button. And then one really cool thing that you guys will really like is, and I use this all the time, every designer will use this all the time, it's pretty much the flavor of the past couple of years, is to add drop shadows to give an effect that the button looks like it's sticking out. So if you click here the plus sign for the effects, you will see the drop shadow gets added. Right now it doesn't look that good, but usually a good drop shadow is around 30. That's what I like to pick. And then, so these are the coordinates. This one will add to the bottom. You see how it pushes it to the bottom? And this is pretty cool. And this is to the right hand side. You see how the shadow gets added to the right hand side? It gets pushed to the right hand side. You don't want to have that too much. Usually I keep this at 0. Most designers keep this at 0. You usually want to deal only with this one or with the blur. Now, another cool thing is you can add drop shadow colors. So you see, if I do this, if I pick red, it looks like it has a cool red drop shadow. You don't want to do this right now, but you get what I mean. You know, in certain cases, you'll see in future projects, you can have cool neon drop shadows and stuff like that. But for now, this is unnecessary. Let's go with just a black drop shadow. And look at that. It's pretty cool, right? That easy. Another thing is over here that you can control is the percentage of how much you want the drop shadow, how strong you want the drop shadow to be. You can also control it from here. Obviously, you don't want that to be too strong because look at that, it looks terrible. So let's stick with around 30%. And that's it. Now you have to understand, this is super simple, but you could do so much with this. And this obviously depends on what you're trying to go for. So let's go with one example. Let's try to copy right now as a test a button from a site that you guys are going to find I'm going to talk about a lot in the future, because this is how you're going to become a top designer. Because clients are looking for the kind of designs that you see on Dribbble. And Dribbble is a site that all the top designers in the world go on. and submit their work. Now, the reason why I say top designers is the way it works is that you can't just submit stuff to Dribbble without being invited to it by another designer. That's really good. So that's how they filter and don't have, you know, shitty work being posted over here. That's it. So now let's try to imitate one thing here. Let's search for buttons, okay? And let's try to copy a button from a project over here. So let's scroll down over here. Let's see what I like. Let's see, recent. Here. How about we copy this button? Perfect. We're not going to do the animation, but let's copy the circle here with the arrow, because you guys learned how to do an arrow in the previous tutorial. And let's pick this like a nice font, and let's create a nice button like that. Okay, so let's go back to the tool here. Let's duplicate this, and his button was fully rounded, so we can go over here. Remember the corner radius, and add all the way. So go 50. Wait, there you go. See, it's fully rounded like that button. And let's go with this kind of blue that he did. So I think this is more or less it, right? And here we go. And then let's add an arrow. Remember, go to the tool here, click arrow tool, and create a small tiny little arrow like that. And in the stroke here, you change the arrow color to white. Now, we didn't go over this on the last tutorial, but you see the weight over here, just add a weight of 2 to make the arrow bigger. You see now it's a lot bigger. You can see it, that's really nice. And now, we're not going to go over typography yet in depth, but I do want to do this for this button. So just click on the text tool here, just tap on it, and right here, click again, and then just write something. So what does the button say over there? Submit your designs. Submit your design. Okay, now highlight it, double tap on it to highlight it, and the fill over here should be white to make the color white, and the font should be a little bit bigger. It's 12, but usually anywhere from 14 to 18 is a good size for buttons. Let's go with 18 because this button is pretty big, and let's move it around to here. And then here with the layers, it's important, you know, you want to grab these 2 layers and move them around so we can center it. Now, one cool thing that you could do is right click and do group selection. And when you have group selection, now these 2 are selected, and if you tap on the rectangle behind it and go here, it will center everything. See how I centered it? Let's go back and show you again. Let's say it was here, and I want to center it. Boom, it's centered. Looks great. Let's move this above. And by the way, I will teach you guys more about the sidebar over here and how you can group things around and stuff like that. It's very, very simple. Okay, so are we done with this button? Let's see what else we can add to it. We added the color, we added the font. You know what this font is over here? You see it's a little bit more bold. So one thing you can do with the typography over here, you see how it says regular over here? Let's go to bold. And that's it. We got ourselves a button that looks similar to that. And I want to show you guys a cool tool that it will be in the tool section below, but it's a color picker. So if you want to steal the exact color of that button, you see how it highlights it? And then you can go to the HTML, grab the color, and go back to your Figma tool and tap on the fill, and then just copy and then paste it, and you got the same exact color as the Dribbble shop. Isn't that cool? One more thing that you should know is if you want to grab a specific element, is you hold Command. If you hold Command, it will pick the exact element inside the group over here. Do you see? And that's it. So in the next tutorials, we'll go over typography and other cool things, but right now I just wanted you to be able to create this button. Please try to create it exactly as I did over here. If you can't and you have problems, of course, any issues, write it in the questions and send me a message. All right, awesome guys. So I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Until then, enjoy designing.